Tonight we're going to talk about converting between fraction, decimals, and percents. The first slide that we're going to look at discusses going from percent to fraction. Remember yesterday we said that word percent meant per cent or cent meaning 100. So per 100. The first thing that we're going to do is rewrite the percent over 100 and then simplify. So how do we write 42%? 42%, so 42 per 100, or 42 out of 100. So now we have 42 out of 100. We have it as a fraction, but whenever we have fractions, we want it in simplest form. So we have to say what goes into 42 and 100. The answer is 2. So 42, 2 goes into it evenly 21 times. How many times does 2 go into 100? 2 goes into 100 50 times. So our answer in simplest form is going to be 21 over 50, or 21/50. Now we're going to look at percent to decimal. The first thing that we're going to do is remove the percent sign and move the decimal 2 places to the left. So 42%. We're going to have 42, remove the percent sign, and keep our decimal there, because 42% is a whole number, 42 decimal point is a whole number. Then we are going to move it 2 places to the left. We're moving it 2 places to the left because we're dividing really by 100. Let's see what I mean by dividing by 100. We said 42% or 42 per 100. This is 42 hundredths. So 0.42, what we got before, 0.42, is pronounced 42 hundredths, 42 out of 100. Let's see how we're going to go from fraction to decimal. What we're going to do is divide the numerator by the denominator. So in the example, 1 over 8, 1/8, we could say 1 divided by 8. 1 divided by 8. Does 8 go into 1 evenly? No. So we're going to do decimal point 0. And we have to remember, very important, to bring up our decimal point. Now we're going to say how many times does 8 go into 10? It goes into 10 once. 1 times 8 is 8. We subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. We have that remainder of 2, so we're going to add another 0 and bring it down. 8 goes into 20 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. 20 minus 16, we're going to get 4. Add another 0, bring it down. And then 8 goes into 40 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 minus 40 is 0. Sorry, I ran out of room. So our answer is decimal point 1, 2, 5, 125 thousandths. 1 over 8 is a fraction, which means it's less than 1. This number represents a number less than 1. So that's just a little mental trick. Now we're going to move on to decimal 2%. The first thing that we're going to do is move the decimal 2 places to the right, because we are technically multiplying by 100. If we're multiplying, we're getting bigger, so we move the decimal to the right. We're moving it twice because of those 2 zeros. And once we have the decimal point moved, we're going to add our percent sign. So let's look at the example. 0.75. We're going to move it 2 spots to the right. We have 75. And now we could just add our percent sign. Let's see if this makes sense. 0.75, really pronounce 75 hundredths, or 75 over 100. We know this is 75 per 100, or 75%. 75%, 75 per 100, which is 75%, and 0.75 all match up. They're all equivalent. Moving on from decimal to fraction. The first thing that we want to do is write the decimal over 100 if it's in the hundredth position. Sometimes we have a decimal that is in the tenth position, so we would write it over 10. Then we're going to simplify. So 0.75 or 75 hundredths would be our first example right here, where it's in the hundredth position. So that would be 75 hundredths, exactly how it sounds. So 75 out of 100. For this one right here, where we said if it's in the tenth position, write it over 10, that would be like this. Decimal point 3, which is really 3 tenths. So 3 out of 10. Here, can we simplify that? No. So that is our final answer. But here, for this one, going back to the original one, 75 out of 100, we have to say what goes into 75 and what goes into 100. You should notice that 25 goes into both. 25 goes into 75 3 times. And 25 goes into 100 4 times. So our simplified answer is 3/4. Lastly, we're going to look at fraction to percent. There are actually a couple of ways that we could do this. First, let us look at this example. For this example, 1/8, the first thing that we're going to do is convert the fraction into a decimal. So we did this before. 1 divided by 8. 1 divided by 8. Remember, 8 doesn't go into 1, so we have to do that decimal point 0. Put that on top. 8 goes into 10 once. 1 times 8 is 8. Then we subtracted, got 2. We brought down the 0. 8 goes into 20 twice. 2 times 8, we got 16 before. 20 minus 16, we've got the 4. We brought down another 0. And 8 goes into 40, we said 5 times. So now that we have our fraction into decimal form, the next thing that we're going to do is right here. Move the decimal 2 places to the right, because remember, you're multiplying by 100 to get it bigger. 1, 2. So now we have 12.5, or 12.5. And now all we have to do lastly is this final step, which is add the percent sign. So our answer is 12.5%. Now, if the fraction to percent, we could do it in another way. Say we had 2/4. We know that a percent is out of 100, right? So we want to know, what is this missing? What is that percent? What are we trying to find? So with our lessons from before, our ratio lessons, we know that we could take the 4 and 100 and scale up. 4 to 100, we're getting bigger, right? So we have to multiply. What do we multiply 4 by to get to 100? 4 times 25. So we must do that to the top. 2 times 25. 2 times 25 is 50. Now we say this is 50 per 100, or 50%. So our answer is just the numerator, 50%. Okay. If you were struggling at any point during any of these conversions between fraction to percent or etc., you could rewind the video, pause it, and go slowly through the problem till you understand it. If there are still any further questions, we'll address them in class tomorrow before we start the work time. Now, just to test your understanding, I want you to look at this next slide and figure out these questions. So represent 7% as a decimal and as a fraction. Represent 0.18 or 1800ths as a percent and a fraction. And lastly, represent 2/5 as a decimal and a percent. Good luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.